Yeah. We're supposed to move in next week. Oh, which brings me,
Oh, I'm
what you
busy.
doing?
Hold on, this connection real bad right now. Hold on, let me.
Yo, it is, yo, your friends, if there was 10 people jumping you, your boys, they'll fight for you, okay? If I need a couple dollars, I can reach out to my boy. There's one thing people don't like doing though. It will not help your boy move.
I got you, man. I got you. But
You got it.
that is true though. I don't know what it is about moving, man. Jeez Almighty.
It could be a 10 on 10. It could be a 2 on 10 fight. We back to back with it.
I mean, I can see the logic. This is a little street cred for jumping in and helping the fight. You know what I'm saying? This is your little street cred, but you don't get no street cred for helping somebody move a sofa.
No street cred.
You know what I'm saying? All right, how's everybody else doing? Jimmy, Nar, Kendra, Aisha, Lonnie, Ash. Who else we got already? Henry, Winnie, what's up? Mel, Darian, iPhone, and admin. How you guys doing? Thanks so much for hopping on. We're gonna go ahead and mute everybody real quick. Boom, as we got everybody hopping on. Appreciate you guys getting on. Let's talk about one thing in particular. I'm trying to pick something to talk about that's different. Before I get to that, I'm going to try to do this one in roughly about an hour. You know how I do. I was planning to do an hour, and the next thing you know, we're on here for almost 2. But we're going to try to get this one in about an hour because I'm hungry. I'm just going to be honest with you. I just got back in from North Carolina this morning, about 3 a.m. And I didn't really sleep too well. I found a common thing. A lot of people that are entrepreneurs, creators, man, there's a commonality. We have a hard time sleeping. Does anybody else have a hard time sleeping at night? Like, man, it's tough. Like sometimes I'm talking about like there might be a couple of weeks where I'm only getting like 3-4 hours of sleep a day, and I'm a crash tonight though.
Drink beer, Tommy.
Drink beer. I don't drink alcohol. I used to drink alcohol. I don't drink alcohol anymore. So I'm here trying to live that life. So I don't drink the alcohol anymore, but I got some melatonin, and I'm gonna make love to that melatonin tonight.
CBD helps.
Well, I don't know what kind of DVDs you're watching, Logan. That's you and your business.
CBD. CBD.
Oh, CBD. Wow, CBD. Okay. But yeah, man, I'm gonna try to keep this one to an hour, so I want to get right into it. But before I do that, next week I've been promised. I've had to pull in some strings. I got my man LeBron James to call him and see if we could bring him in on the team. But next week I've been heard we're gonna get a special guest, Mr. Maxwell is gonna come on and talk to him a little bit. Give us a little clap. Y'all ain't clapping for me when I get on this joint. I'm on here every single week. Clapping.
First off, I've been a special guest too, and they don't give me no claps.
They don't give you no claps, right? They don't give you no claps.
Love all of you.
It's the beard. It's the beard. All I need is a beard. I'm straight.
You know what I'm saying? I tried growing the beard. Just don't get no longer than this, man. But yeah, so he's gonna be on, man, and telling his story, and obviously we're always gonna have Q&A. So some of those questions, man, he's definitely doing some major things. He's a friend of mine. You guys might have saw on the gram. We went shooting the other day, and yeah, so dope. He's gonna be out here, but he's a friend, but he's still my mentor. He's still someone. Appreciate that. Still someone that I always go to with questions. Still someone that I learn from because he's always doing new and innovative things. And he's in that $100,000 a year mastermind that I'm not in yet. So he's learning things. He's on the cusp of what's happening. So definitely don't want to miss next Sunday. Make sure that you're here for that, and we'll have a good time. Today we're going to be talking about just one thing specifically. We're going to talk about leases, right? And specifically how to structure a lease with the option, a lease option to purchase the property. I'm going to show you a contract of a property that I have. for this lease option, just so you can see exactly how to do it. Because there's lease options and then there's lease options, right? There's ones that make sense if you're trying to buy the house, but you should really try to, you should really try to get structure it similar or exactly like the way I'm gonna show it to you. And it's not very difficult. It's just knowing that it's possible, and making sure that you have the writing in the lease to really do it as an investor. So a lot of times people will do this and they'll do it the wrong way, or they'll do it in a way where they leave them open to be subject to the market, really, and so I really want to kind of lock some things in on my lease options. It's not a very difficult thing to learn. It's not a very difficult thing to learn. But like I said, you just want to have some things in there on your lease option contract so that you, protect yourself. So number one, what is lease option? We're going to talk about that. Let's say you have come across a property and the owner still has a mortgage on it. You're not able to do a subject to for whatever reason. It just doesn't work, or that maybe the owner doesn't want to do a subject to, right? They don't trust it. And so there's another option there where you can do this lease option. A lot of people have heard them. They're rent to own programs, those type of things. Those rent to own programs that are by corporations typically don't work for these, because a lot of the rent to own or rent to owns, which is nothing against them, right? They're in it to make money, but they know that going into a rent to own program by like a corporation, a lot of times they're set up so that they're going to win on the back end. They're going to pretty much manipulate you, I can't say that word, manipulate you, and that lease. But there's really no way for you to really get a good deal as an investor, right? They're really designed, those rent to own programs, for people who want to live in the property. So how do you structure it so that you're an investor is a little bit differently. So basically you're going to get into this thing where you're going to be paying, you're going to be paying the mortgage if you do it correctly. And if you can get it set up correctly, you can negotiate the right way. Sometimes you might pay the mortgage plus a little bit more. But in my case, I'm paying the mortgage. And you really want to make sure that you have some, because at the end of the lease term, what you want to do is you want to be able to get that property at what the price of the mortgage is, okay, not the market. And that's one of the biggest things that people make mistakes on, is they don't really go through this section, or the special stipulation section on the contract, and write in what they need to write in, right? So this is going to be short, sweet lesson. We're going to open it up for some Q&A. Like I said, it's not that that complicated. Let me share my screen. All right, I had to block some information out, especially his bank account and those other things. But let me see, how do I zoom in here? There's a little bit of lag here. Hold up. Maybe I need to go back to this. There we go. That's probably a little bit better anyway. That's bigger, right? You guys can see that. So you can see this is a real contract. We signed it through .loop. I don't know why my signature isn't signed here, but you can see the landlord signed it here, right, through .loop back on in December of last year. So we're going to kind of go through this. This is a standard, we call it in Georgia, GAR form for realtors. This particular person, this owner, his name is John Jackson. Actually, his middle name is Michael Jackson. I like calling him by his middle name. He came to me. Actually, I found this property. This was from a absentee owner list. Okay, absentee owner list, RVM'd. So ringless voicemail the list. Got a call back, and at the time I was having someone else. When they called back, they went to that number through a call rail account and rang their number first, and they left a voicemail. And that's kind of how we started this dialogue here. When I first saw the property, there were tenants that were still living in it. We scheduled a time for me to see it before when the tenants were still there, but they weren't at the house. So This property right here, this is all kind of basic stuff. Here on the rent, you see tenant shall pay monthly rent of, there's not a dollar amount here. See special stipulations. Because this is a variable mortgage, okay? It's a variable mortgage, which is somewhat could be kind of a risk depending on what your strategy is for the property, okay? So you see here, the term shall be blank dollars, CSS, which is special stipulations, and that the rent shall be paid to here. This is important for me because I want to make sure, because of how I'm setting this thing up, and this is something that you guys want to think about, the way I have this thing structured, I capture all the equity of the property. So the way I have this thing set up, I'm paying literally into that account, okay? And then I also get the mortgage statements to make sure that my money is going to the account, to the mortgage account, right? So that's something that you definitely want to make sure that you have there. This is just basic stuff. When my due date is, I don't have a late payment. You could have one, but I don't have one. These are all things that I just negotiated into the price. So here, right here, what I pay. So this option cost money, okay? So to have this option to capture the equity, to be able to do this, it costs money. So this option fee was right here, $5,500, okay? So $5,500 to have this option fee, right? Now that originally was, I believe, $6,000, and I negotiated it down to $5,500, all right? So this property, in order to have this, you have to do an option fee, and that is determined upon what you can negotiate, right? So whatever you can negotiate, I mean, obviously for you, the lower that option price is, the better it is for you, right? No pets in it, which is fine because I don't want pets in it either. No smoking, it's fine because I don't smoke anyway. So here's one thing though, utilities, all that stuff, all this stuff is on me. Yeah, and there's one here where I'm responsible. Where's it at? Let's see, did I pass that already? On this, a lot of it that I'm responsible for, I guess maybe it's in the wrong spot. I'm responsible for all anything that goes wrong. So if the air conditioner breaks, anything happens with the property, it's on me. Okay, which because of the deal that I got, I was okay with. So kind of going back a little bit, the properties in this neighborhood are going for about 130, 135. When I got this property under contract, the mortgage was the payoff on the mortgage was 106. Okay, it needed a little bit of work, but not much. You know, people were living in it already, so it didn't need too much. But the mortgage on it was 106. So as you can see right there, it didn't really make sense for a wholesale deal. It's really not too much I could, eat off of, right? But this is one way that I could do it. All right, let me see. Appliances, this is where all the stuff is going to get checked off on. All this is basic stuff. Liquidation, I'm trying to find where it says that I'm responsible for all this stuff is just, I mean, if you really want to go ahead, this is probably a good way to for us to get some sleep, actually, if you want to read through all this. But what I really want to get down to is this special stipulations section, which is right here. All right. So special stips, the following special stipulations, if conflicted with any exhibit, addendum, or preceding paragraph, include any changes thereto made by the parties, shall control. So basically what this is saying is like, no matter what you agree to up here, all right, this is going to supersede some of those things. If this is in conflict with anything that's going on up there, then this takes precedence. Make sense? All right. So that's why if you're going, well, when you sign a contract, you really need to make sure that you go through this section, okay? Because they might say up here that that your non-refundable administrative fee by tenant is $5,500, which was my option price, $5,500. They might say that here. But if it says something different down in your special stipulations, if it says that it now is, $7,500 right here in this section, well, you just agreed to that this section overrules that top section. Make sense? So these are things that you have to be aware of before you move forward with this, right? So it says here, all parties agree that tenant will pay landlord a non-refundable payment of $2,750 via certified funds at lease execution and $2,750 via certified funds at date of possession. Failure to comply. I think that was a typo. Can result in lease termination and forfeiture of any monies paid in any part of this agreement if any part of this agreement is broken. Now, why we did it like this? Because he had a tenant in place. The tenant really didn't want to move, but the tenant really wasn't. They really weren't making any money off of this property, and they were having some issues with the tenant paying on time. But they still were okay tenants. They were here, I think, for about 2 or 3 years. And so he was like, "Well, man, I don't want to serve this person." Remember, he signed this in December, but the lease agreement wasn't until, the move-in wasn't until February of the following year, right? February of 2019. So he didn't want to tell his tenant, "Hey, you need to get out," if I wasn't serious, right? So the money that I gave him, this $2,750 up front, which was half of $5,500, all right, that just gave him a warm and fuzzy feeling that I was serious, number one. This was almost 3 months worth of rent of what the person was paying. So if they got out and he needed to fill this place, he could have, he had 3 months to do it. So it was a good move on his part to do that. If you ever do one, you should probably do something very similar, right? Owner also agrees to provide existing tenant to terminate once this lease is executed and first installment has been paid. Owner will request the existing tenant last day to be 1/31/2019. So basically what I was fearful of was that I'd get this place and the tenants would, he'd tell the tenants too late and they would come up with all types of excuses for them not to move out on the date, because I'm agreeing that I'm taking over this thing on February, right? So I want to make sure that he let them know upon lease execution, which is when I gave him this $2,750, which was back in December, that he would let them know that they had to be out by 1/31 at midnight, right? All parties agree that once tenant takes possession of all maintenance-related items, I guess it was here, all maintenance-related items inside and outside will be the responsibility of the tenant. So in this particular one, because of the deal that I got, I was okay with this. All right. All parties agree that tenant will remit monthly payment to landlord owner by the 5th of each month. This can be deposited directly into landlord's PNC account. Once deposited, landlord agrees to pay Cuff's lender and provide proof of payment to tenant. So this is something important right here. Again, like I said, I'm going right into his bank account, but then I also get the lender's proof of payment. So the last thing you want to do, is pay on this lease, and you're going to see how long my lease term is here in a little bit. Pay on this lease and then find out that he's been missing payments, right? And so you're thinking that this mortgage payment is decreasing, but it's not, because he's doing something else with it, right? So want to make sure that's one of the stipulations I had to have in here. All parties agree that if payment is not received by the 15th of any given month for current amount owed, the landlord shall commence the filing of dispossessory. Dispossessory, Jesus almighty. So basically, if I don't pay by the 15th, he can start, kicking me out. So here's where it gets good. So all parties agree that at the end of a 3-year lease term, so I negotiated a 3-year lease term, all right? So I have 3 years to do whatever I want. I control his property for 3 years, right? So at the end of the 3-year lease term, tenant shall have opportunity to buy at the current payoff amount. Should owner not wish to purchase, then both parties can mutually agree to extend lease terms for another designated term. So this right here is why I decided to do this, okay? Because basically I'm going to have someone else paying on for this house for 3 years, okay? I'll have someone else paying on it for 3 years, which means the mortgage balance it was 106 and some change. It was really close to 106,000. will be lower. It's probably going to be somewhere. It's not going to be crazy low, but he's been in this property for 7 years. So in 3 years it'll be 10. It'll be just starting to get to that point, where you're really starting to pick up. When you pay that mortgage payment, more principal is being paid more money is going to the principal versus interest. It's just going to start to turn at that point where it's just going to start to turn, right? So I'm going to have, but in 3 years, it'll probably drop down to somewhere in the 90s, the 92 to 94 area. We'll get it somewhere around that point, okay? So I capture all of that equity, which means someone else is going to be paying on this for 3 years. And then when I go to sell it, I can go ahead and sell this thing and capture the difference of whatever it is now between the mortgage payoff and whatever the market says it's worth. Hopefully we recover from this market correction by then. We'll be, $30,000 to $40,000 up. Okay. All parties agree that owner will not have the right to modify, refinance, or pull equity at any time during this lease term. Super, super important. Super important, because he still owns it, right? He's still on the deed. Okay. So, and he has roughly $30,000 worth of equity in it right now that he could pull from. So I had to put something like this in here to protect myself so that he doesn't equity strip the property. And then when it's time for me to go ahead, if I want to buy it, right, then I'm thinking I got $40,000 worth of equity and I got nothing because he took out a home equity line of credit on it. You see what I'm saying? This is doing lease options as an investor, not as a homeowner. These are things that you have to think about, right? Man, I don't want to pay on this thing for 3 years and then I'm basically just been paying rent. Essentially, that's pretty much what it's disguised as, right? And I'm not getting any good deal off of it. You don't want that. You don't want the owner to do something like this where they go in their equity strip it right before on the 2.5 years, they go ahead and take all the equity that you've been paying on. You want to protect yourself for that, right? All parties agree that the monthly rental payment is based on lender's terms and will not be deviated by either party. Because this is a variable rate, all parties agree that the tenant will contact buyer before the first of each month to confirm monthly rental amount. Note effective, this was a 7, that's right, 7 adjustable. Note effective 1/19, the monthly mortgage payment is $950. It was actually $949 and some change. It's like a little less than $950 per lender. This amount will remain in effect until 8/19, so this month. Afterwards, it will be reevaluated based on escrow interest rates and is subject to change. So if you're going to do adjustable variable rate, most of the times they change every 7 years. So this month is when it's due to change. If it doesn't change, then it'll say that for another 7, right? They do 7, they do 5 and 3s. Okay, so this will be the month. It shouldn't go up any more than about $100 is typically where it'll go to. But because of the way it's structured and because the utilization of how I'm utilizing the property, $100 is, if it does do that, I'm not gonna be happy about it, but it's not gonna really hurt me, right? All parties agree that owner has authorized tenant to paint, carpet, make enhancements to the property, and those enhancements shall remain intact. So, once I leave, or if I don't purchase it, I can't be like, oh, this is my carpet, I'm taking it. And then all parties agree tenant will be allowed to sublet home. This is why I got this home, because I wanted to sublet it, right? Or sublease it. This is super important for me. Now, for you, maybe you don't want to sublease it, but for the utilization of how I wanted to utilize the property, I needed to have this in here so he couldn't come back and say, no, you can't do this, okay? All right, and so that pretty much takes care of it. This section right here, this special stipulation section, because the rest of this contract doesn't really address, what I needed it to address. It didn't write out, the terms that I needed. So you don't have to worry about that. You just need to go to the special stipulations, and then, like it says right here, anything that is written here is going to supersede whatever is up there. So knowing that is key, number one. And then whatever you and your that landlord, that owner agree upon, you need to make sure that it's in here and nothing is deviated from it. so that you can really protect yourself from any other anything that they might try to hide in there or throw in there that hurt you. All right. All right. So like I said, this one's pretty simple. How to utilize it. How I found it. Like I said, RVM from an absentee owner list. Think about just like reverse engineering this, right? They're already renting properties. So anybody who's a landlord, anybody who owns property and rents them are obviously absentee owners, right? So all those absentee owners will, sometimes they're going to get tired of their tenants, right? And they just want someone's going to be a little more professional to come in there and handle their property. And that's you, right? It's how you position yourself, how you present yourself, but you present yourself as a professional. And they might say, you know what? Yeah, this is worth the shot because he's not making any money off this property, right? His headache, the thing that he was, he doesn't have to worry about any maintenance, and he doesn't have to worry about not getting paid on time. Okay. Matter of fact, we had a leak in the house not too long ago that tenant would have called him on, and he would have been charged like $300 to fix that. Right now, I don't think he positioned himself as a good landlord or a good owner or investor because he really wasn't making any money off this property as it was, but between the rent, what he was charging for rent and what he was his mortgage was. And so, for me to come along and do this to find him was a godsend for him because he wasn't making any money anyway, and he had to take care of like all the extra crap that you got to deal with, right? All right, so I'm gonna open this thing up for Q&A and see what questions you guys have. Let's try to stick with the Q&A as it pertains to this first, and obviously, if we don't have any questions on this, then we can go ahead and switch.
I have a question.
Tommy, you said yes.
Hey, what's happening, man? So this is perfect timing because Kiana and I were talking about this week.
Okay.
This option. I have a property that I'm actually working on right now. So my first question is like, how do you calculate what the payoff will be? Like, say for instance, I got a property now. The payoff right now is $112,000 on it. His APR is 3.75% fixed. And so what I'm thinking when I sublease the property to my end buyer, I thought that I would probably need to at least be able to say, okay, well, if you lease option this property for me in 2 or 3 years, this will be your payoff number right here. How do you kind of frame that? What kind of number?
Yeah, so I just give, if you're doing a different strategy what I'm doing, so just so
Okay.
everybody understands, right?
Okay.
But I'm gonna give you an answer though. But just so everybody understands what he's saying is that he's doing what I did with this property, right? So he's doing a lease option, but then he found another person who's going to rent out the property from them to pretty much do the exact same thing with him. And at the end, they're going to buy it, correct? That's the idea. They're going to buy it from you you have control over the property. So you'll get the difference in what the mortgage payoff is and what they pay, right?
Yeah.
So there's really no way of knowing that because we don't know what the market is. How long is your lease option on this property that you're getting under contract?
So what I'm doing is I'm gonna, I offered the seller 3 options, and so that I think he's going with the 3rd option, which is going to be a bigger down payment for longer terms. So I'm going to give myself a year cushion. So I'm going to lease option it to the end buyer for 2 years and giving myself 3 years just in case something happens.
Gotcha.
So
good, that's smart. So there's really a couple ways you can do this, man. There's no crystal ball to know if you're going to do it the way it's set up for me. There's no crystal ball to know what the market will bear in 2 years, right? So you really can't know. All you can do is kind of do like a ballpark figure. And what most likely was going to happen is that you should shoot higher than what you think, because you're in control of the property, so you can do a price reduction, right? Mm-hmm. And so they're going to get a conventional mortgage, most likely, and the reason why they're doing it this way is their credit is probably not good enough, or maybe their down payment isn't good enough to get a conventional loan at this moment. And what they're hoping for is in the next 2 to 3 years, their credit or their income history, whatever they need to provide, will improve so they can get a conventional loan. So the reason why that's important is because what you say now, I would agree that it's a little bit higher, and see what they say, because like I said, you can go down and it doesn't matter if it's too high, the bank still has to approve their loan anyway, right? So you can, if you say, hey, in this particular case, in this neighborhood, like I said, like 135, and let's say in 3 years, it's 142, right? But I say, hey, we're going to lease option this thing, and you're going to be able to lock in a price today of 145, right? But in 3 years, the bank says, hey, we're not giving a loan on this thing for no more than 142. Well, then there's your answer, right? So there's no way that you can know exactly. And because of that, I'd rather err on on my side to make sure that I have a little more money in my pocket, and then I can always decrease it, if I still want to sell at that point. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. And I also made sure that I got his exact escrowed insurance and escrow taxes on it, so I could at least figure out, okay, this much is principal and interest by itself.
On that end, on the end dealing with the owner of the property currently, on that end, that's just you getting a mortgage authorization letter filled out from your landlord, and you're talking directly to the mortgage company, right? And they can give you exactly, hey, what's your payouts? What is it going to look like at this particular interest rate? Yours is a fixed interest rate, so it ain't going nowhere. So they can tell you what the amortized rate should be in 2-3 years.
Okay, cool. My next question was, do you do a title search to find out whether or not there are other existing liens on the property?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Cool.
Because you don't want to get this property and then you find out that there's a $20,000 lien on it, a mechanic's lien or something, that the guy did work on the house and they never paid the person, right? Good question.
Thank you, bro.
Logan, I see your hand up. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Is this the kind of lease option that you would do on like an Airbnb? Because I'm assuming, yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Is it more of a risk on an Airbnb?
No. Well, you're mixing two different things, so you just got to be well versed on two different aspects, right? So knowing what a good Airbnb property is going to look like and how to run it is something different than finding a lease option. So if you can, that's why I decided to get the property, is because it fit what I needed for an Airbnb, right? So as long as it's in the area and the price point is low enough where you can make your money, then yeah. But that's why I got the property. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Appreciate it. So
you should be at least doubling what you're paying, like in your pocket. Like you should be doubling. So because Airbnbs, they go through ups and downs, right? They have high seasons, low seasons. Around the holiday season, like Thanksgiving, Christmas time, where you think, man, Thanksgiving is the day before Thanksgiving is what, like the most heavily traveled day, right? You would think that those are really good times for Airbnbs, but they're really not, because people are traveling and they're staying with family, right? So you have to be prepared. You have to understand and know the market on when your high times are and your low times are. So yeah, so you want to make sure that you have at least double, or you can average at least double with your Airbnbs. So when you have those low times, maybe you're just getting by. If you're smart, if you know how to position it, know how to position your Airbnb, you pretty much will always be pretty well occupied. But you're gonna have to. There's no set it and forget it with Airbnb, right? So I've set up quite a few Airbnbs, and when people call me and they ask me, well, how should I do it? That's why I set up a video course with them on how to schedule their pricing, right? A lot of people with Airbnbs, they think it's a set it and forget it type of a deal, and it's not. You can't just pick a point and just leave it there. You always constantly have to move that thing up and down. So I got something called the 2-week rule. All right. So at 2 weeks, specifically with Airbnbs or short-term rentals, with 2 weeks, what you need to do is you need to look at everything that hasn't been rented within the next 2 weeks. And if you have multiple properties, you need to put all those days on like a spreadsheet, or just put them on notice. If you got a whiteboard, write them out on a whiteboard, right? And then if they're orphan days, right? If they're orphan days, meaning like someone checked out, someone's due to check out on a Tuesday, and the other person's not check in until Thursday. So you got this one Wednesday that's in between these 2 days. Most people book for 2 nights on average, right? So you got this one day that's in the middle that's kind of weird. It's during a weekday. We call that an orphan day, right? So if you have something like that at that 2-week point, it's automatic 50% off. Automatic 50% off. So you're gonna undercut everybody in the market because you got this one weird day. And you'll be surprised. There'll be some people that will stay knowing that they got to be here for 2 or 3 days. They'll stay that one weird day at 50% off and then try to find another place for the other 2 days at regular price, right? The whole point of that is to get everything booked. Once you get to be like 7 and 5 days, I take it down 25%. And then anything after that 5th day goes down another 25%. And so typically when you start to do that, when you have your people strategize like that, they'll fill up their calendar. 80 to 90% of the time it's full, because people purchase off of reviews, pictures, and obviously price point. Cool.
Damn, that's smart.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's gonna be on that course?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You really shouldn't have any problem if you do it the way I show you to. You shouldn't have any problem making sure that your calendar is pretty much booked. Like I said, man, like there's people, number one, you're going to pick a place. You're not going to go into a area where people aren't visiting. So people are already coming there. And then when you price the way I show you how to price, and price competitively, and it's not always being cheap, right? There's little things that you can add in there that just make you stand out to increase the value. But when there is that time where you have those off days and you need to get them full. So for example, if you have, let's say you have, your normal nightly rate is like $150, right? Normal nightly rate is $150, and you have 7 days that are like unaccounted for. Like you have seven days throughout the month that you don't, you just can't get booked. You just no bookings. So let's say you cut that down, that 150 to half of that, 750, right? So 7 times 7, $75. That's an extra $525, right? It's extra $525. It costs me about $400 to run your property, right? To pay for utilities and internet and all that other crap, right? So you just made your utilities just by being smart and taking half off. And you don't necessarily always have to do half off, but just going down by that 50%, you've covered all your utilities, right? So it's just better for you to do that than to leave those days open and just not make any money. So a lot of people, they don't do that. They won't discount them for whatever it is, or they do such a small discount that by the time, I'm looking for a property, by the time I get around to them, I've already found somebody else. All right. Cool. Let me see. Admin. I always forget, who's admin?
This is Mark, man.
Hey, what's going on, Mark?
Nothing much, man. Looking at that form that you had up,
Yep.
on number 6, can you pull that back up so I can see it?
Yeah, sure.
Alrighty. On number 6, the second sentence says, should owner not wish to purchase. Now, everywhere else, to my understanding, on every other number, owner is referring to the owner of the property. The other.
You're right. Yeah,
you.
Yeah, he's right. It should be tenant. You're right. Should owner not wish to purchase, then both parties can mutually agree to extend lease terms for another designated term. It should say tenant. I think what we're saying here, it's definitely a typo, definitely a mistake that he shouldn't put there. But I am the owner. I would argue I'm the owner of this contract. So just like a wholesale deal, if this ever came up, right? If this came up into like the court or whatever, right? I would say, just like I'm the owner of a contract and I sold my contract as an assignment contract, I'm the owner of this contract. That's how I would try to finagle it. I don't know if it would work, but you're absolutely right. It's a good point. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that might not work with the word purchase because you wouldn't be trying to purchase that document.
Should
So-
owner not wish to purchase, well, then both parties can mutually agree. So should the owner of this contract not wish to purchase the property, then both parties can mutually agree and lease terms.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
but to be less ambiguous, it just definitely that should be tenant there.
Okay. I'll just check it. Just want to
Yep.
make sure.
All right. We got anybody else with their hands up about this? All right. Any other questions? Any other questions pertaining to, any real estate deals? How do I keep my beard so well maintained? Anything like that?
Yeah. What's up, Mom? Yeah,
What's
man,
going
I
on,
got
bro?
I got a question for you. I can't get a beard. I'm still in, so I gotta stay off of that. But so I've been looking at some of the properties around my area, and I continually see negative equity. Now my question is, I don't really understand negative equity and how it works, because in my head it doesn't make sense to have negative equity, because if they get out the house, there's nothing owed on that house because of negative equity. But that's where my question lies. How does that work? What does that actually mean when I go into wholesale or to go talk to them about the deal, try to figure out my cold call, stuff like that?
Yeah. So this is probably best described when people with let me see, it was at a 1996 Mitsubishi Eclipse. All right, 1996 Mitsubishi Eclipse. I bought it.
That's fly right there.
I bought it in 2008. I'm sorry, 2008, 1998. Lord Almighty, bought it in 1998. I went off to college. I thought I was the hotness boy. The following year, I had crossed over Phi Beta Sigma, the illustrious Phi Beta Sigma fraternity incorporated, and had a big Sigma sticker on the back of it. I was hyped, right? But I got robbed. I paid way too much for that
They
car.
didn't take the sticker, did they?
No, they didn't take the sticker. No, I didn't get robbed. I mean, like they saw a college kid coming in, and it's like a little sporty car, and the car was not worth what I paid for. I can't remember what I paid for it, but I pretty much got robbed, right? So that's the best way to think about it, right? It's like with a car.
Okay.
Like you purchase a car, and even if you purchase a new car, right, brand new, as soon as you drive off the lot, what happens to it, right? You lost a lot of that, what you paid for.
Right.
So at that point, I'm negative. My car, I owe more on my car than what my car is worth.
Right.
Okay. So with that same thought process, just apply it to a house. So how does that happen? Because you're saying to yourself, man, banks won't even approve you unless the house is worth, right? So what happens is a market shift, right? So let's say a particular area, it's a factory town, and the factory, packs up and moves.
Right.
And now, prices, just the market plummets because the values start to drop. There's more and more foreclosures. It's not as nice of a neighborhood. So the value starts to drop, but you still owe that mortgage of what you signed for. Okay.
Right.
Other way is that sometimes there are some unscrupulous companies out there that will still loan you money on a property, right? They'll loan you more than what it's worth because their whole reason for this is one of the things that happened. If you guys watched The Big Short, right? Some of these things were going on during that crisis, right? In 2008, where, there was a lot of businesses out there that were, over leveraging homes with the whole point of like, they knew that they were going to eventually foreclose on these properties, right? So they owe more than what the house is worth at the end of the day. They take out loans on it, or they have multiple liens on it so that there's no equity at all in the property.
Right.
Yeah.
So then how does that affect? So then is that something I should just avoid as a whole when working a deal, or I should take that into the number account?
There's very few ways that you can win. There's no way that you can win as a wholesaler with that. Okay. Right? The only way that you could win as an investor on that is with speculations, Like, so like I always give this example about here in Smyrna. So Smyrna, there is a, when the Braves were coming to come here, everybody's like, if you knew that
Right.
before everybody else knew, and you found one of these negative equity homes, you might want to take the chance on that, right?
Okay.
But on your day-to-day, because you're like, man, this homeowner has no idea that the Braves are coming,
Right.
and all the property value in this area is going to just go through the roof,
Yeah.
right? That might be a time that you do it, but it's just, I don't like speculative investing, me personally,
Right.
because let's say that same example, they might decide, you know what, at the last minute that, all right, this is not the best place for us, and then you're stuck with it, right? So most of the time, most people are just going to let that one slide and move on to the next one. Don't like chase deals. I did that in the beginning. I tell people that a lot in the course, and I've said it multiple times here, that a lot of times, especially when we're new, we'll get hung up on a deal. So we'll find a deal, and we'll be so happy that, like, we're actually talking to a warm body, right? So actually has a house, and we're so excited about that we kind of stop all marketing and we focus 100% on that one person. And for the next 2 weeks, all you're worried about is getting you ready for your appointment and going on the appointment. They said this, and then you've completely took yourself out of the game because you're chasing that one deal.
Right.
Right. It's just one person, just one house out of hundreds of thousands of houses, millions of homes in this country. So we got to just keep it moving. So for me, if I see something like that, it's just like if I'm finding somebody whose house is in the name of a trust. I personally, I'm not doing. That's just not something I'm willing to waste a whole bunch of time on. I'm just going to keep it moving and go find the next deal.
Okay.
So that's what I would suggest.
That makes sense. Cool. Appreciate it, Boo.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let me see. If you guys are in the chat, I'm seeing stuff come up in the chat. It's probably better if you just put your hand up because I can see that faster. Logan, I just saw that your hand up was again, and then I'm gonna go to the chat.
Hey, what's up? I don't really have a question. I just kind of wanted to give you an update because we were talking about it last Sunday.
Okay.
How I was trying out the Facebook video deal. I actually ended up getting a property under contract for like $6,000.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and it's a house that needs to be tore down, but the whole area around it, there's new houses selling for like close to 300,000. So I mean, it's a really good opportunity for a builder. And
Yeah.
I haven't started marketing it yet because I actually offered it to the neighbor first, and he's supposed to be getting back in contact with me in the next couple of days. So.
Perfect. Yeah, man. Don't let that drag on too long, though.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Don't drag on too long. But that's awesome, man. So taking action, taking what the information that you're getting here, and applying it. When I'm gonna talk about this real quick, and then I'm gonna go to the chat. When I spend time with Max, I try to go up there and spend time up there just learning, like once a month.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I miss a month or whatever. If he's busy, I'm busy. He travels a crazy amount. I thought I traveled a lot. He travels a lot. But when I see his business and I get to see, like, he doesn't hide any part of his business from me. And when I see what he's doing, he's not doing anything different, than everything that we're doing in this course. Like, he still does bandit signs. He does Facebook marketing. I think he stopped doing Google ads. But everything that we talk about in this course, he does it. He just does it on a larger scale because he has more money, right? So when you're buying, $200, $300 worth of bandit signs, he's buying $2,000 worth of bandit signs. But it's the same exact tactic, right? When he's doing RVMs and you're buying a list of 1,000, he's going through 20,000 a week. It's the exact same thing. But you just got to start so you can get the money. He didn't start off like that, right? He just started, he made some money. He actually blew some of his money at first, like if you ever heard his story. And then he's got smart and then started reinvesting it, right? So what you guys have, the tools that you guys have, Logan is proof of it. A lot of you guys are on here are proof of it. The tools that you guys have, they work. You just got to do them. Like there's no like part 2 of this, right? There's no like, you know, E2E Wholesaling Edition Part 2, right? This is it. Like if you do this stuff, you'll get deals. You just got to be persistent at it. The week that you take that 1 week that you take off, I promise you that's the week that you would have ran into the person that was going to sell you their property. It's just the way it works. It's the way it works. So you just got to do it consistently enough, and then eventually you'll start to see that traction. But yeah, I'm proud of you, man. You definitely out there doing it. I see you taking this stuff to heart and actually putting action to it.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I need to get a testimonial to you. I'm gonna let you guys know now. I'm gonna let you guys know, so just in case you tell somebody about this course and they're like, "Yo, what the heck?" It was supposed to happen last week. I'm gonna let you guys know right now. The course is no longer gonna be $47, because at this point, I mean, for you guys, hold on, let me picture it, because I'm about to get a whole bunch of angry messages. For everybody that's already in, nothing changes. All right, nothing changes. Okay, everything is the exact same for you guys. But anybody else that comes into it, I'm not doing the monthly stuff, man. I get so many emails about, oh, I didn't know this was a $47 monthly course. I get email, even though it says it clearly right there in the print. I get so many emails that says, I didn't know this was monthly. Can you reimburse me? I don't have time to go through that. It's $47, right? And if they knew the value that they were getting in this course, that for $47 a month, they wouldn't even complain. But most of the time, when I look at who is doing this, when I go back and I see the people that haven't logged in, they've logged in once or twice or something like that, right? They have there's no effort. Okay. So it's no longer going to be that price point. It's going to, and honestly, I'd rather work with just the people here on this call. I could care less. 35 of y'all, right? I'd rather work with just the people that want to do it, and really are actually putting effort into it, than to have someone else come on here and be on here for another day, and then they're complaining about $47 next week. So because of that, I'm no longer offering that after 47. I don't know exactly when it's going to change, but it's definitely going to be this week. I'm working with a team to get this thing set up. It's going to be $1,000. Okay. So I'm letting you guys know it's going to be $1,000 because I want to weed people out that are serious, and from the ones that aren't serious. Like if you're going to invest $1,000, at least you probably going to take that a little more serious. And I think that's the main problem. That's the main reason why we don't have more people with success stories like Logan, is because they treat a $47 course like it's $47, not knowing that there's so much value in it. But when you start spending more money, that money starts to kick you in the butt. That money makes you wake up and say, man, I really don't want to make this phone call, but I spent $1,000 on this course. And that's why a lot of my one-on-one students do so well, is because they invest more money. And that's it. Like some people need that motivation. That was me. I paid $7,000 for a coach. Once I paid $7,000, I did exactly what they told me to do. And guess what? It worked. It's just how people are. Some humans are like that, right? I was one of them, so I can't really be mad at it. So just giving you guys a heads up. It's definitely going to change. And whether or not we stick with this 35, or whether or not there's one person on this call, I could care less. I'm going to be here regardless. So I don't even know how I got on that, but appreciate you. So that's why I need a review from you, please. If you can give me like a 1 minute Instagram worthy joint. If anybody else, please, got any value from this, if you can give me like a little 1 minute Instagram worthy, like landscape mode, sideways. Don't do it like this. Just like I teach you to take the photos in the course, landscape mode. A 1 minute joint, that'd be much, much appreciated.
Do you just want like me to send you a video?
Yeah, testimonial. Yeah, however you want to do it. Yeah, like a 1 minute, like just like real, just candid, like nothing script. You ever see Talladega Nights where the guy's like, what do I do with my hands? Like, don't be like script, like I don't know what to do. Like just be natural, and just like 1 minute, nothing major. I would appreciate it. If you don't want to do it, I still love you anyway. It's cool.
No, I got you. Don't worry about it.
But I appreciate it if you could. And that, you don't have to say, oh, I haven't gotten a deal yet. It just if you received any value, if you've learned anything. Because I think even just from a homeowner's perspective, if you're looking to own a home one day, learning how to wholesale or learning about wholesaling, I think is valuable, right? Just knowing that it's possible, knowing that, hey, I could probably get a house in this nice neighborhood if I'm patient enough as a homeowner, if I'm going to live there, even if I can get 10% equity in it, it's better than paying full retail, right? At least you have some equity in the property. So
I'll just I'll show them my scrum board to just flex a little bit, you know.
okay. All right, man. Appreciate you. Let me go to the chat for those that are in the chat. Yeah, Mike, we definitely did, man. We went to the range. It's kind of crazy, man. It was me, Max, Christina Spells. If you guys know who that is, she spoke at We Live 2018 and 2019. She's killing it. Like really one of the female wholesalers that are really doing well. I love the fact that she's leading. Her and my cousin Crystal Polite. They're both in my eyes, and Rashawna Scott is another one leading the charge for a lot of female investors. So me, Christina Spells, Max, and Lafayette, who's also killing it. Appreciate that, Carla.
Tommy, as you read the chat, can you get me into the Facebook group? I'm still pending after about a week.
You're still pending? All right, I'll take a look at it.
Cool, you don't let me. It's all good. It's all right.
I got you. Let me see. All right, cool. Appreciate that, Duke. Is it necessary to have a landing page for my business? No, it's not. I don't have a landing page. I used to have a carrot site, and I was not optimizing my Google AdWords or anything like that, and I was getting like very few hits on my website. You're gonna see, man, like if you do the social media thing, right? If you start to do the social media thing, you start pushing the social media, and you go to the RIAs and you're out actively involved, you don't really need some of those things. Like you're gonna when you really want to scale, and maybe I have an idea of where I want to be with my business, how big I want it to be. Maybe your idea of that is bigger than mine, right? And you want to have a website, or you want to start doing Google AdWords. You can do those things, but in order to have a 6-figure a month wholesaling business, you don't need to have a website. You just don't, right? It depends on the strategy you want to use. And now, if you're going to market strictly on the web, then yeah, you might want to do that. But you don't need to, especially when you have deals that are coming to you, and that's how I like to have my business. Max spends a lot of money in advertising, and he does obviously very well, but his brand brings him a lot more money. Does that make sense? His brand brings him deals where he doesn't, it's like no cost, essentially, right? He's doing what he's doing anyway. And so the deals start coming, and I love that model, me personally. I love that model.
Hey, Tommy, on that note, for the on carrot, is that the wisest choice when trying to go virtual? When we talked last time, I started looking at the virtual model, and I'm trying to set up here at Fort Knox, and then once I get to the next location, I'll set up there. But is it wise to start working on the on carrot piece there now, or should I kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's a puzzle.
What's your budget? That's the first thing I would ask you when you ask me a question like that, because to really get into that space in Google AdWords and really to market, so you're getting those keywords that people are going in, and they're when they look at sell my house for cash, when that's a typical phrase, right? And they Google that, you got to spend a lot of money to outspend the people that are in your area already.
Right.
So you just have to be prepared that this is a long-term play. You're not doing this for a month and thinking that you're going to find results.
Right. All right. Prop stream it is. I'm driving for dollars. Got it.
All right. Does the purchase and sales agreement that is available on your course work for commercial property? Also, could you go over some major differences between wholesaling residential properties and commercial properties. So I get the commercial property thing a lot. I personally haven't done commercial properties. I know some of the ins and outs of them. And basic commercial property. So you could find, so here's an example of commercial property. As soon as you click over to 5 units, your commercial property, right? So it could be something as simple as that, where you have a 5-unit apartment complex that you're going to just use the same purchase and sales agreement. But now commercial property where you're talking about business interests, like am I, let me see if I can give you an example, a bakery, right? You find a standalone building that has a bakery in it and you're trying to wholesale that bakery. You're going to need to have some other things in there because am I just getting the bakery, just the shell of the building? Am I getting the $57,000 worth of bakery equipment that are in the building? All right. That purchase and sales agreement is probably not going to be the right thing for that type of commercial deal. So it just really depends, Jonathan. That was a good question on what type of commercial property you're trying to get into, like what level. Like this, like I said, there's a 5-unit apartment complex, and then you have a whole shopping plaza with multiple businesses in it. Those are both commercial, but that shopping plaza with multiple businesses that are earning an income, that are on triple net leases, all that stuff, not the right. You don't want to use that purchase and sales agreement. And matter of fact, I would not be the right person. I'd be the first person to tell you. I would not be the right person to. I wouldn't feel good giving you real advice because I haven't done anything like that. So you might want to consult with someone else on that one. Got you. Yeah, Ramona, you're right. They definitely need to see what mentors charge. It's money. I mean, if think about, and Ramona, you're a professor, right? In school. Ramona's a scientist, like she's an actual scientist, right? It's crazy. So you think about like how much money you spend on college, right? Like most people walk away 50 to 6 figures worth of debt, $50,000 to 6 figures worth of debt. And they come out and they get a $60,000 a year job, maybe, right? Some of them don't even have a job, can't even get a job. And you can spend, that's why, I talk about it, negatively sometimes, like some of those people you see on TV when they're charging $50,000 for their real estate course, right? But if I had to choose one or the other, I would probably choose that over going to school and spending $50,000 because I know I'm gonna do the work if I spend $50K, number one. And being a real estate investor, man, you can make so much more money. Most jobs that you get from a college standpoint, you're not going to make the money that you can make in real estate investing. So college teaches you how to learn. That's what it's good for, right? It teaches you how to learn, right? But it's really, unless you're like in some of these certain fields, like if you want to become a doctor, obviously, I don't want you to take an online course on how to become a doctor, right? That's something you need to go to school for. But some of these other things, man, is just you can just be a lot more profitable. Your return on investment will be higher. Yeah, can get the volume increased? I can hardly hear you. Oh man, Alan, you should have said that a long time ago. I don't know, can everybody else hear me? Is my volume low? Oh, Alan, that might be you, man. You probably got like a Samsung or something.
I can hear you a little bit, Charlie, Tommy.
Yep, see? You probably got one of them Boost Mobile joints. Maybe that's what it is. I'm just messing with you, man. About a house I saw on auction.com. How can I get on the phone? Oh, my bad. You said that to me privately, man. My bad. Sometimes I just be reading them. Yeah, that'll be something that you want to do. Schedule that through there. All right. Just try to, I need to block out some time. Don't schedule it tomorrow between the hours of 12 and like 5:30 or 6 o'clock. Because I got a 5-hour scheduled meeting. So yeah, don't do it between that time. What are I think you meant RVM services have you used? Ringless voicemail. The only one that I really have that I've personally purchased and used is Cold Calling Plus. So CCP is the only one that I've personally used. I do know that REI Real is better. It's just I've already invested in Cold Calling Plus, so I'm sticking with it. But those are the ones that I know of. I've seen REI Real in action. That's how I know it's better than what I got. But Cold Calling Plus gets the job done for me. Prospect follow-up on how many times do you reach out before letting the prospect go? Just keep reaching out until they, threaten to kill you or die, basically. But you're going to, kind of space it out. In the beginning, it's going to be a little more recent. I don't want to say recent. I can't think right now. So basically, it goes like this. I call them up. If we have a immediate connection, I might say, hey, I'm gonna give you a phone call tomorrow. But once it starts, I feel like it starts to get cold. I'll do like a 1-1-2-2, and then every month after that. So what I mean by that, once I start to see that it gets a little cold, I'll do from that point, I'll wait 1 week, then follow up, wait another week. So that's the 1 and 1. So 1 week and 1 week. And then after that point, I go to a 2 and 2. So every 2 weeks, I'll follow up, and then it'll be once a month type of a follow-up. We just, on the first of the month, we go through our list and say, okay, we need to recall these people. So that's how we do it. And we just keep doing that until they say yes, or they say, listen, don't ever call me again. I have a 5,000 square foot bar that is located on 3 acres of land. I'll be making an offer this week. Do you have any recommendations on how to calculate the ARV when it's located in the residential area? And where should I post this property once locked under contract? So again, that's that commercial stuff. So are you getting the liquor license, right? Bars have liquor licenses. I don't know how much your liquor license is. In Miami, a liquor license could be $1 million. So these are all the things, like, this is why I've been around real estate long enough to know that I am not the best person to help you with that. Does that make sense? It's not that I don't want to give you that answer. It's just I know my lane, and there's so many variables that go along with commercial property that I could give you some advice, but whether or not you should take it, that's up to you, right? But finding the ARV on something that you're not going to do, that's not the same process as finding the ARV on a house or apartment complex, right? Because how much I need to see the financials, right? I need to dissect the financials. I need to figure out what is this business bringing in on an annual basis, because it's what you're selling is not a building anymore. It's a business, right? You're selling an opportunity for an investor to come in and make money if they're going to use it as a bar. If they're not going to use it as a bar, it makes it even more complicated, because now you need to figure out if the buyer is going to use it for, this is probably not, I don't know, it's the first thing that popped in my head, but it's probably not the right thing, a daycare, right? If they're going to change that bar over into a daycare, you have to factor in all the things that's going to have to take place in order to convert that building into a daycare. So it's a very difficult thing with the amount of information that we have. And even if you had all the information, I can give you speculation, but I wouldn't be, like I said, the best person to do that. So yeah, man, that's what my advice for you, Jonathan. But I'd still, if I'm in your shoes, what does it cost me to get that thing under contract? $0, piece of paper. I'm gonna shoot for it. And guess what? When you do it, come back on the call and tell us your experience with it, so we all can learn from it, including myself. So yeah, that'd be dope. All right, cool, Alan, appreciate it. Are you still pulling data from list source? Absolutely. Once before you talked about your filters. Can you briefly give vacant serve filters? Vacant serve filters? I don't know. Oh, hold on. Oh, single family resident filters. There you go. Yeah, so filters on list source. Trying to see it all in my head here. What you want to do is you want to have make sure that and actually for vacants on on that it's really absentee owner properties. There's if I'm maybe I misstated something because I can't remember the conversation, but there's not too many ways that you can guarantee that a house is vacant from list source. I can do absentee owner high equity. I don't know. Maybe you heard the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Absentee owners. I was just typing fast. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So absentee owner high equity properties in list source. There's literally the last tab. It'll say, do you want absentee owners or not? So there's like on that last tab, there's a couple of different things that you want to check off. And it's literally a box, a box that you check. And then therefore it'll bring all the ones, and all they're really doing, just so you know, all they're doing is comparing the property address with the address that the owner has on file when they pay their tax records. And if those addresses don't match up, then they say, oh, obviously this person has another house and they don't live in this house. So it's just a box that you check on that very last one.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could share like what percent equity you put, and then you targeted like so many zip codes, and I think you did like a,
Yes. So equity, I want 50% of equity or more. So 50. So I'll literally just write 50 to 100, right? And that'll filter out a lot of people. Because that's really what you need in order. 50% equity is really like, in most markets, the bare minimum of what you need in order to add your fee on it and have money and room for renovations and have money, have space for the end investor's profit. So 50% or equity or more. And then the zip codes will depend on what strategy I'm trying to do. But a lot of times, like now, I'll just go to a whole area and just say, I want all the properties. I used to when I was paying more for these lists and my budget was a little bit smaller, I used to like really just kind of niche down into a specific area code or zip code. Now I'll just like, hey, I'm gonna get all of them that meet my criteria for the city of Atlanta, right? It's gonna be a big list, but everything I'm gonna capture everything in that market, right? And so if you know how to find the hottest zip codes, then if you want to niche it down like that last page, you can go ahead and do that. And maybe we'll do that on Wednesday. I can walk you through everything on Wednesday on how to go through list source, if that helps. But we'll be on this call for another hour. Right? Go do that because it's gonna bring up other questions.
Thanks, man.
And Yusef,
Yo, what's up, man?
I wanted to reach out. My cousin did in that last one. I wanted to see if you were up for doing, because you've gotten a couple of deals under your belt, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you have anything that you could talk about? Remember, I don't know if you guys will remember. I want to start bringing people in and getting the perspective of like your perspective of where you would like some things you would like to talk about. Like, what do you think? We need some topics we need to hit from the student's perspective, because I want to make sure that we're providing value from everyone's point of view. You think you're up for teaching a 30 to 45 minute course or something that you're doing in your business?
I think I can go for 30 minutes. We're talking Sunday or Wednesdays probably wouldn't be good for me. But
okay, so we could do the following Sunday, because this next Sunday, Max is going to. Max will be.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll look at what's the following Sunday is what the 18th.
Yeah, I think so. Yes,
okay,
it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right, I'll write it down now. Cool. All right.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and answer a couple more, and then we're gonna get out of here because I'm hungry and sleepy. Retouch on the course fees once more. This course, Alan, you can come off mute real quick. Talk about this course.
Yeah, I'm talking about this course. Can you hear me?
This course for you is going to be the same price. Nothing's going to change. Anybody in it now is not going to change. But you know, I'm assuming after this meeting, we're going to change the price tomorrow. It was actually supposed to be changed last week, but we had some scheduling conflicts. But yeah, sometime next week it's going to be $1,000. So if somebody that wants to join, they better join tonight. And you can still get it changed, because I don't want to hear no sob stories after that. Okay, cool, Jonathan. Glad I was able to provide that for you. Have you used listability for non-owner occupied? No, I have not. The only other list that I've gotten was from man, my mind is going crazy. REI something. Man, REI Pro. I've gotten some good results from REI Pro. Actually, we've gotten quite a few deals off REI Pro's list. So, but I haven't used listability. What service have you used for text messaging to sellers? I was supposed to get Sherpa going, but I've only used Easy Text. Easy Text is the one I've used. And then in the beginning, a lot of it, even now, I'll just put everything in my iPhone notes, and I'll do a copy and paste of the properties. And then my buyers that buy on a regular basis, I just send it to them directly, because it's nice to have a large buyers list, right? And that'll grow over time. We're probably closing in over 100 people on our buyers list that are qualified buyers. But you'll find that the bulk, even though you have 100, the bulk of your buyers are going to be like, it's going to be like 5 of them that you're going to buy consistently. They're going to buy the most of your properties, right? Even I have a friend of mine down in Florida. At the time I did that interview, you guys might have seen it on YouTube. He was the 5th largest wholesaler in all of Florida, and he has over 30,000, probably 35,000 buyers on his buyers list for the entire state of Florida, right? But he even says, he's like, there's a small percentage that are go-to that pretty much buy all the time. So even out of 35,000, he doesn't, there's a small percentage of that actually buy all the time. You can check your county and see if they have a vacant list, as well as a list of soon to be demolished houses. You can also see your county has registered rental lists. Yep. So depending on the county, but they might have a vacant list, and depending on how they do that, disseminate that information, some of that stuff they won't give you depending on where you're at. But yeah, you can definitely go there. The 18th is all right, Carla. You're gonna turn 18 on your 18th birthday. All right, Carla, I hear you. Or 21. 21. I just texted my friend to join today. Yeah, Carla, you better get him on it, because he's gonna be upset. Yeah, REI Pro definitely is good. Have you ever heard of the smarter? Have you heard of the smarter contract? I guess contract for text messaging. I've heard many have used tremendous success. No, I haven't. PropStream. I haven't used PropStream. So I'm like one of those people, like if it works for me, I kind of like stick with it. I might try a couple other things, but ListSource works for me, and REI Pro has worked for me. So yeah, I haven't tried that one. Okay, cool. I see it right here. Yes, the smart contract. Or smart contact, excuse me. I haven't used that one, so I'll have to check it out, thesmartcontact.com. All right. Oh, my bad. Jody, I didn't see you there. Let me lower your hand. You got a question?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hi, Tommy.
Got you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a newbie at this, and I'm just starting the course.
Okay.
And I'm finding that when I try to pull the comps within a half-mile radius, that I'm not finding anything. Is that an indicator that I need to just keep moving and go, drive for dollars somewhere else? Or
no, it's probably an indicator that that it's a rental market. Is it a lower income neighborhood?
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Is it a rental neighborhood with most people that are? Would you categorize it like when you're driving through there? Would you say that most of the people that are living there are renting from someone?
it's a possibility. It's a possibility. I can't really tell. I haven't really looked at any other properties around there. I know actually it's kind of abandoned because it's on a cul-de-sac, and
Okay.
it kind of goes back into like this. It appears to be an undeveloped small subdivision, but there are two properties that are just abandoned, and I know the owners are like out of California, it appears.
Okay.
But I can't get any comps that are close to in that, on that street that have actually sold
Yeah.
within the last 6 months.
Normally when I see that, it's because it's a rental neighborhood.
Okay.
So if you want to just test this theory out, go on Zillow and put the little purple dot on, which means you're looking for rentals, and then open that time frame up to all time. So don't put like a time frame on it. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So don't look for the last 6 months of rentals.
Okay.
Open it all the way up, and you'll
Okay.
probably see that there's a lot of rentals that are happening in that neighborhood.
Okay.
And that'll just confirm whether or not it is. And the reason why you're not seeing anything resold is because, like, if you were to go look at a property that I have in Macon, you're going to see that I purchased it for $11,000, but you're never going to see that it's sold because I didn't sell it, right?
Okay.
That's why you're finding a hard time getting the ARV, because people in that area are buying rental property and never selling it again.
Okay.
So that's why it's
So they're
hard.
just holding.
Yeah, so that's why in the course where I talk about, I know you just got in the course, but I talk about being able to find out what the property is worth based off of if they're going to flip it and also if they're going to rent it. So for me, I've only done 2 flips. I really don't care to do any more, at least at this point.
Okay.
And so I like rental income. I like long-term mailbox money. It allows me to go on vacation, even though I don't take too many vacations, but allows me to do things and I don't have to worry about my bills getting paid because I got a steady stream of income coming in, right? So people like that, we're not going to sell our property. We're going to hold on to it, and therefore you're never going to see that ARV.
Okay.
So it gets fixed, right? It's going to get fixed up, but it's not going to be fixed up to the nines, as they say, right? It's not going to look, that's an old saying, man. I just aged myself. It's not going to, we're not going to put granite countertops in it, and we're not going to get top dollar for it. So you're never going to see that real true ARV.
Okay.
So you got to figure out what the rental market is. And all you're basically going to do is you're going to find out how much the average rents are. If it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, what are 3-bedroom, 2-baths renting out for in that neighborhood? And then find out, obviously figure out where you want to be at as far as the return on investment. So typically if you can get a 10 cap or a 10% return on investment on that or better, you have a high chance of getting that thing sold. So you have to work your way back. I know I'm kind of talking foreign probably to you if you just got in the course and you don't have any experience, but if you go through it, you'll start to pick up on it. And then if you still have questions, then let me know, and we'll go through it.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
No problem. All right. All right. Any word on Hayden, on how Hayden did on that apartment this week? I don't know, Hayden, how'd you do on the apartment? Ollie's asking. Oh, he already answered. Never mind. All right. All right, cool. I'm out, man. I see you. If you guys want, I can leave the chat open. If you guys ever want that, because sometimes I forget, because I can log off on my side and leave this open so you guys can talk freely amongst yourselves. You can definitely do that. I'll do that today. But we're going to wrap this thing up. I'm tired, and I got some 3-day-old spaghetti in my refrigerator, and I'm going to go ahead and demolish. It's that bachelor life, baby. Eating stuff that's growing things on it. So, so you guys be blessed, man. I love you guys, and see you guys on Wednesday. All right, take care.
Thank you.
No problem.